evening, everyone. My name is Willow Schuyler. I will be your host for this evening. Whoa, okay. Apparently, I'm going to have to fix that. All right, so this is Cryptic Crunch. I am your host, Willow Schuyler, and we're going to be talking about lizard people. Why am I holding up a tentacle, you ask? Well, I will show you pictures about that later. In the meantime, let's get the show started. So I'm apparently having technical difficulties on a couple of my pages, but we'll figure that out in a moment. In the meantime, let's bring up Kale, my co-host. Lizard people are starting to hack my computer system there, Kale.
They don't want the information out. They want to stay hidden. We're about to blow their cover and they know it.
So how are you this evening?
Oh, I'm doing great. How are you?
Good. I went to see Oppenheimer this morning.
Okay, how was it?
It was really good.
I haven't got to see it yet, but I've heard really good things about it.
Go in with an empty bladder. Try not to eat or drink any fluids during the movie because it is a fairly long film. So yeah, drain the lizard before you go see the show.
Absolutely. Yeah, I finally sat down and watched Avatar 2, The Way of the Water, but it's like over a 3-hour movie, and thank goodness I did it from the comfort of my home where I could pause it and take multiple bathroom trips because I'm too small and condensed. I can't handle long stints like that.
Yeah, it was a fantastic movie, and I'm definitely wanting to read up more on who Oppenheimer was, and from somewhat history in school, I did learn a little bit of that, I live with the history buff when it comes to World War II, so kind of learning through osmosis through him a little bit, but yeah. I kind of went in blind and not knowing everything about this whole situation, the whole Manhattan Project, and so yeah, it was a really good movie though. Robert Downey Jr. does a fantastic job in there, like they all did. There's so many celebrities that pop in and out of that film. And it's like, oh yeah, I know that guy. Oh, I know that girl.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. One of my favorite actresses, Florence Pugh, is in it. She's from Midsummer, one of my favorite movies. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it was a star-studded cast, so I heard it did really good. I watched Barbie, but I kind of was not happy with the political wokeness of it.
Mm.
It was cute and it had good outfits. That's all I can say about it.
That's about it for me. Like I kind of want to watch it for the fact that there's so many of the Barbies that I did have throughout my childhood, and I kind of want to watch it for like those references. But one, I'm not a Will Ferrell fan, and I know he doesn't show up usually till about the end that I hear or about that. But I'm just like, no, I can't. I'm not a fan of Will Ferrell, and Barbie to me looks like a movie that I can watch on streaming service and not worry about, going to the theater. Today was actually kind of fun as well. Met a couple of my friends for lunch and got myself a sewing body form. So now I can modify my costumes without any hassle now.
Ooh, yeah, that'll be handy.
So, and maybe this will actually put me in that direction of learning how to sew properly.
I don't think there's a proper way to sew. I mean, as long as it gets together, you know, the stitches are on the inside. If the seam is messy, who cares?
Yeah.
Good.
So yeah, no, today was kind of a long day as well. So as soon as I got home, I kind of crashed on the couch, and then I'm like, oh, 6:30, I gotta get up. But no, it's fun. Had a nice day with hubby, and so felt productive. Now we're going to be talking about lizard people.
If they'll allow.
So, okay, what do you know about this this whole conspiracy of lizard people? I'm sorry for the very graphic photo, but at least it's a cartoon. That's what I found on Wikipedia.
Well, lizard people, they are here to take over us, or there's two different theories that they evolved from amphibious life forms here, and that they're actually alien life form that have been, you know, that have evolved from a different species of evolution, much like primates and humans did. And there's also another theory that they are actually alien life form from another planet that are higher intelligence, that are, you know, not from Earth. So I've dived into both sides, both rabbit holes, so I'm ready.
Like, I know that it's like from what I've read as well as like and heard from all over social media is lizard people, like there's celebrities that that are on this planet that aren't human, and they shapeshift. I'm sorry, the skeptic in me goes, I'm drawing the line here, folks. my brain can't go, it can't get past the whole idiocracy of the belief that lizard people exist. But then again, aliens apparently do exist. So.
Right. Every time I think of a lizard person, I just think of the Croc from Spider-Man, and he injects himself, and then he gets all like gnarly. He's like, every time I envision a lizard person, I'm like, it's a crocodile. It's Doc Croc. But no,
I mean, like the fact that we have people living here on Earth that has skin conditions, and we've somehow managed to do a conspiracy theory on the fact that people have dry skin, scaly skin, and it's just like, can't people just leave other people alone? I'm glad that we have our people in the chat joining us, because this is going to make the show so much better today. We have Carl Witzman, Donna Carleen, thank you. Hello. Dan Hollyfield, good evening. So yeah, this is going to be a very interesting show with them chiming in. So I'm going to try to track down my picture of my Cthulhu queen, and explain why I have a giant tentacle. So a couple of years ago for KeyCon, I dressed up. We did a Cthulhu theme, and yeah, it's the funny thing about this was that was the year that the hotels no, well, previously their pool leaked and they got rid of it. So, and then their hot tub leaked the year that we did our Cthulhu theme convention. And so, yeah, and don't evoke Cthulhu because things happen. And so I've been meaning to bring back my Cthulhu Queen, and the problem is it is very hard to control these when you're dancing and even sitting. I think I stabbed people and accidentally poked people in places that shouldn't have been. So yeah, it was an interesting convention to say the least. When people see tentacles, they go crazy. So yeah, there's that, and I'll find the picture in a moment. But going back on topic, so the lizard people, the lizard people myth actually got started. Let's go back to Wikipedia. The reptilian conspiracy. It started with Professor Michael Barkon, professor of political science in Syracuse at Syracuse University. He published. It started with the Conan the Barbarian by Robert E. Howard. In the story The Shadow Kingdom. So that's where one theory came about of where the lizard people theory came from. Like the story of Cthulhu, it just spiraled out of control, and there's followers of Cthulhu, there's followers of the lizard people conspiracy. And of course, pop culture just latched onto this and took it even further. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. Like, how about you? Like, have you seen following this? Have you seen any truth behind any of these theories that lizard people walk among us?
Well, I mean, Keanu Reeves has not aged a day.
I thought that was part of the whole theory that he's a time traveler.
Right.
Although, the whole Highlander thing is another theory that we could touch on. Is do these people actually exist? The thing is, yes, lizard people could possibly be a thing because, well, lizards do live a pretty long life. Well, some reptiles do anyway.
Komodo dragons.
Yeah. Carl says, I had no idea that it was that old. Yeah. Lizard people have very smooth skin. Okay, I'm glad that we cleared that up.
Because they shed it, so it's always fresh.
Oh yeah, that was another. They touched on that on Wikipedia as well. But yeah, it goes a long way. There's a lot of people who actually kind of touch on the whole there's a author Serpent Man, described as humanoids with human bodies as snake heads who were able to imitate humans at will and who lived in underground passages and used their shape-shifting and mind control abilities to infiltrate humanity. So there's, oh, and then of course there's like the alien abduction thing. According to British conspiracy theorist David Icke, yes, that's who was referenced, who first published on this theme in 1999 work of the biggest secret tall blood drinking shape-shifting reptilian humanoids from the Alpha Draconis star system, now hiding in underground bases, are the force behind a worldwide conspiracy against humanity. He contends that most of the world's ancient and modern leaders are related to these reptilians, including the, I'm sorry, my brain's breaking on this one, Merovingian dynasty, the Rothschild and the Bush family, and the royal family. Icke's conspiracy theories now have supporters of up to 47 countries, and he has given lectures of crowds up to 6,000 people. Yeah. It is a weird conspiracy when you when you actually do go down the rabbit hole of it, and and then of course what gave us the idea of this was the woman who flipped out on an airline, saying that the person that she was sitting beside was not human. And all the videos that I saw of this is they turn the camera around and they show him and he's just standing there nonchalant, no facial expression at all. He's wearing his green hoodie and he's not reacting to anything that's going on. So I managed to find a TikTok video of him. I assume that it's him. But the thing is, it's in French. He speaks French. So I'm thinking he didn't know what the hell was going on around him because everybody's speaking English. She's flipping out. He's being pointed at, and he doesn't speak a word of English. So I'm thinking that was the issue with his lack of reaction. But there is apparently a video of him talking about his experience. But it's in French, so.
I wonder if anybody's translated or if anybody's commented on it, what he's saying.
You know what? I should, I apologize, guys. I did a really poor job on finding this out. So yay me. But at least I did find that video, and still no word on the woman who did the freak out. Apparently she was found, but she's not talking about the situation, so maybe she's a little embarrassed about it. Maybe there's maybe there was either a mental psychosis situation that she's working on and she doesn't want to talk about it. Who knows?
Yeah.
But no, she did not go missing because of some weird conspiracy that, people went after her. The woman does exist. The woman is out there. Oh, yeah. If you can find it translated later, you can do a short. I shall try to do the update. I'll see if I can find the video, a translated video of it, and post it. So Carl says that they teach them that look in lizard school. kind of like trying to do lizard inspired makeup, and all I got was just green eyeshadow and lipstick. Yeah, so that was Lizard People. Johnny's supposed to come join us, but apparently he got stuck in a movie, so I don't know if he's actually going to join us. He said something about he's wrote in the wrong chat. First of all, he goes, "I will be joining you tonight, but will be late. My son and I are setting in to see Ninja Turtles." So
yes, all the boys are going crazy about Ninja Turtles.
I'm not sure if I'm going to see that movie in theaters. I'm a little iffy on that one. Mm-hmm. I love Ninja Turtles. Don't get me wrong, but the art kind of seems a little strange to me.
I felt that kind of way about Puss in Boots at first, but I enjoyed it. I think it gives artists and animators a chance to get their art on style, because when you learn later, like Puss in Boots, like each one of those frames were like individually painted, illustrated, and things like that. I don't know if that's the case with Ninja Turtles, but I'm just saying, I thought that. I was like, oh, this seems really lazy. Like they're skipping frames. It's like shoddy animation, but no, I think it's just like the way that they did that kind of art style for that thing. And then when you learn later that every frame was done individually, you're like, oh, okay, well, this probably took a long time. Like, I think it was a pandemic project for sure.
The new Ninja Turtle movie is also done by Seth Rogen, so I'm a little iffy on his stuff, because we've all seen seen what he did with Green Hornet, so oh, hey, there we are.
There he is. Howdy.
Hello, ladies. How are we tonight?
Good. How are you?
We were just talking about whether or not we were going to see Ninja Turtles. So, what's the dirt on that? Like, was it a good movie?
It was unbelievably good.
Yeah?
Yes. It was one of the most well-written movies I've seen in forever. It was so good. I actually like this better than Into the Spider-Verse or Across the Spider-Verse.
Oh.
So
okay,
because that's a good comparison, stylistic wise, and kind of texture wise and whatnot. It's a good thing. Yeah. So Dan Holyfield asked, reptile themed research on Johnny's part, seeing Ninja Turtles. Yes, kind of. Yes, kind of. It was really good. Go see it.
Okay. I was just a little hesitant because it is a Seth Rogen movie. So, and like I said to Kale just a few moments ago before you popped in, we all know what he did with Green Hornet. So,
well, okay. So Green Hornet, that's an interesting point. I actually didn't hate Green Hornet. I liked that movie for what it was. Now, it was not the character that fans know and love from the radio dramas and from the 60s TV show, but it was okay for what it was. And if you could accept it for what it was a good movie. There will be some people who have a similar feeling to the Ninja Turtles, but unlike Green Hornet, this is not crass or vulgar. It is very much a family-friendly, super fun action adventure movie, and it's written very much like a Looney Tunes cartoon. These layers of sophistication and the jokes that the kids are going to get and laugh at, but then stuff that the adults are like, "Ooh, that's funny."
Okay. Well, maybe I'll give it a shot when it comes down to streaming.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's no reason not to at that point.
Yeah. So, lizard people, what's your thoughts on this whole conspiracy?
Okay, so catch me up. Where are you in what you've talked about?
We talked a little bit of its history, our own thoughts on the whole conspiracy. We touched on a little bit of who, why people think that lizard people exist, and then of course the woman who flipped out on the plane.
Okay, so have we talked about Nibiru?
No, you can. Okay,
so the whole belief, and it comes from Sumerian mythology. In the Sumerian texts, there's a word used to describe a race of alien beings, angelic beings called the Anunnaki. And the Anunnaki are depicted in Sumerian hieroglyphs, heads. And the story is
Johnny, you're freezing on us.
The story is
internet things, but story is that the Anunnaki were from a and they visited the Earth millions of years ago, hundreds, thousands of years before mankind even existed, and that they were the ones who actually bred mankind, and they left, and they've come back from periodically throughout human history. And the prevailing theory now is that the last time they came, they stayed, and that they created an underground world in the center of the Earth, and it's powered by an artificial sun using a power source from Nibiru called Vril. And that's where the lizard people live, in the hollow earth. And throughout human history, they have taken on the appearance of humans and infiltrated world governments, and that they are actually the ones who are pulling the strings on everything happening in human history. And one of the big believers in this theory was Adolf Hitler. Adolf Hitler actually had a secret society called the Vril Society. And they believed that they could, using occult artifacts, journey to the center of the Earth and either mate with, create hybrids with the Anunnaki, and harness the power of the Vril to take over the world. So, and there are people who believe that there are human reptile hybrids now. Some people believe that they are reptilians who are just in disguise. Like one of the prevailing theories, I'm sure you talked about Mark Zuckerberg, yes?
No, but he definitely does look like a lizard.
Well, so there is footage of him in a Senate hearing where he's asked a question, and when he blinks, he doesn't blink up and down, he blinks sideways. And there are some other video footage of newscasters where their eyes change color, change shape, and take on just for a split second, like they're losing control of their form, or of their disguise. There have been people who, there was a video of Katy Perry, where her face froze, one side of her face. You guys have seen this. Her entire right side of her face froze.
Oh.
And there are people who are saying, well, she's either a reptilian in disguise, or she's a reptilian human hybrid, and she was losing control publicly, because it takes this massive concentration to, draw upon the power of the vril and maintain the illusion and keep us as human cattle under control. Now, there's a Nashville connection to this.
Yes, the bombing. I'm glad that you brought that up, because I was hoping that you would touch on this.
Yeah, so I live in Nashville, Tennessee, and Christmas Day 2020, there was a conspiracy theorist who believed that the lizard people from the Hollow Earth had infiltrated the federal government, and that the federal government was using 5G technology to mind control us, in short. Well, in Nashville, AT&T has a server house, a server building that houses all of the 5G technology for 7 states. And he believed that if he could take that out, he would free everybody's mind. And so he loaded up an RV full of explosives, just like the kind of explosives they used to blow up the federal building in Oklahoma City, parked it in front of the AT&T server house, and Christmas morning, 6 a.m., Christmas morning, 2020, it blows up, and it blows the entire block to Kingdom Come. It was a disaster area, and it still is. It's like a war zone 2.5 years later. He did take out AT&T for 9 days. There were 7 states that had no AT&T service, no internet, no phone, no. He was right about the target. He was right about what he would accomplish if he could, take them down, or if he could damage that building. He was right that he could take down AT&T. Of course, he was wrong that it would free our minds and the rest will follow. Be colorblind, don't be so shallow. Anyway, so yeah, right here in Nashville, Tennessee, lizard people apparently are in control.
That is scary stuff.
Kale looks stunned. She's just sitting here in stunned silence.
And you guys are still trying to rebuild from that explosion, right?
Can't rebuild. So those buildings along 2nd Avenue, it's about a block and a half that is still boarded up, demolished. They are federally protected buildings. And under the historical overlay, they can't be repaired, remodeled, or, rebuilt even, unless they use original building materials.
Yeah, and we have that rule here with some of our buildings as well.
Yeah, and when you have a 200-year-old building, the original building materials don't exist anymore. I mean, those buildings were built in the late 1700s and early 1800s. And so today they are sitting collapsed, boarded up, blocked off until the federal law is changed. And we'll see if that happens. But
oh man, that's harsh. Like, especially when it's like a historical.
Anunnaki. All because of Nibiru.
And I know we're gonna slip into this whole. I don't mean to go political, but where do you suppose like they get these ideas from that these people, these kind of people exist? Like
the internet. I
Yeah.
mean, look, the whole philosophy, the whole theory has been floating around since World War II, and there are rumors that the Vril Society survived, that they outlived the Third Reich, and that they actually became, that during Project Paperclip, the members of the Vril Society, and it was a secret organization, that they came west to the United States, and through Project Paperclip, were interspersed throughout the federal government and throughout our culture.
See, and like I have a sister who's a conspiracy theorist, and I'm still trying to understand like the psychology behind people's minds when they latch onto these theories and believe that these things are real.
It all comes so the whole theory about Nibiru and the Anunnaki and the lizard hybrid people starts hundreds of thousands of years ago in Sumeria. Now, here's where it's different from other religious texts, okay? So we could say it's all about religion, but really it's all about mythology, because the difference with the Anunnaki is that they appear in basically two verses, two quatrains of the Sumerian holy book, and I can't remember the name of it. It escapes me. I'm so sorry. But they just appear in two references. But they don't appear in any other mythology tradition. And that's where it's really different, is that in every other global myth and every other major world religion, the characters, or at least the concepts, appear in every other single religion, which to me lends credence to the origin story. But when you have a one-off that doesn't appear anywhere else, and the equivalent doesn't appear in any other faith-based belief, then I have to say that's probably it's not true. There's no basis of truth, but it all dates from that Sumerian, Sumerian Babylonian religion, and it's just held on, and it's been out there in the ether for thousands of years.
And I know it seems like these conspiracies tend to circle back to like the Illuminati and all that. So I'm still unsure how that all fits in, but somehow the Illuminati
are controlled by the lizard people. That's the theory. The Vril Society has become the Illuminati. So, yeah.
You just said it right there. It's the reptilian has been put for centuries, the ultimate symbol of control, mind control. All the way, if you want to get into religious text, all the way back to the Bible, if you can think about it, who was powerful enough to turn Eve against God's word? The serpent. So, that's true. Mind control, snake charmers, if you think about the Jungle Book, Kaa could hypnotize Mowgli. So you say it right there. The reptilians control the Illuminati. It's fear. It's exactly what it is. It's hypnotic. You think about the hypnosis of reptilians, their advanced, biology.
Yeah.
Good point.
Well,
it's a huge stigma.
That is a good point. And that is something that does carry through across all religious texts, is that the serpent is generally regarded as a symbol of evil. Now, in Greek mythology, the intertwined serpents around a staff actually represent medicine
Yeah,
and
the
health.
doctors.
But, you know, in Egyptian mythology, the god Set is represented by a serpent's head. He is the god of evil in Egyptian mythology. And, you know, Medusa in Greek mythology has a head of serpents, and she is considered the queen of all monsters. And monsters in Greek mythology are evil. So, Kale, that's a good point. That's a great point.
Mm-hmm.
Ta-da!
Every once in a while, they'll wake up from their nap and get frisky.
So I actually did find my Cthulhu Queen pictures, and nothing says sexy like giant tentacle. There it is.
Oh my goodness, you were doing some damage with those tentacles.
I wore every piece of green that I owned for that costume.
Is that classified as Rule 34?
It might. It definitely did get a little adult themed during our dance at at KeyCon, but yeah. That the head, the helmet I'm wearing is actually made out of paper mache.
All right. I can dig it.
I don't know how long it actually took me. I know it took me a span of maybe like a week to put everything put that whole thing together. So yeah, there's me at the costume contest, and it was a fun costume. I definitely want to bring it back and modify it and do way better.
so that's an interesting thing that you bring up a Cthulhu themed cosplay, because Cthulhu is a completely wholly original literary character created by H.P. Lovecraft in the early 1900s, you know, the 1920s and 30s. And there's something about that character that has become so enamored by pop culture that it's actually taken on a life of its own. And there are people who now truly believe that Cthulhu and Hastur and the other elder gods are legitimately part of the mythological, you know, the mythology of the global mythology. But H.P. Lovecraft created them out of whole cloth from his brain. There's nothing in the mythological record that even points to those characters other than someone might suggest, well, the Kraken in Greek mythology was the inspiration for Cthulhu, and probably that is correct. But there's nothing. I just find it fascinating that completely fictional literary characters have been turned into almost neo-mythology historical figures.
Yeah. And like, as much as I like the idea of a giant, a giant creature coming up from the sea, or in some cases the sky.
What's wrong with you, Willow?
I guess I really shouldn't be saying this on live streaming, but you know, you know how you like passively aggressive say that, you know, I wish that there would be a plague.
The views and opinions of Willow Schuyler are not necessarily reflected by the Cereal Box Network,
No.
its hosts, or other co-hosts.
I really should have that as a warning before this show starts. But yeah, no, like I definitely bit my tongue when COVID started. Because I swear, I think we've all had that moment where it's like this world definitely needs a plague. But I'm sorry, guys, but the whole idea of a giant lizard popping up out of nowhere and destroying part of the earth does have a little bit of romanticism.
Well, maybe that's why Godzilla has been such a cultural phenomenon since World War II.
Yeah.
Feeding into that desire. So, Kale, you've been very quiet. You've been listening patiently. I want to know what you think about reptilian lizard people conspiracy theories.
Well,
are you a believer? Do you believe that they are conspiracies? Do you think it's all a bunch of hokum? Do you think there's some truth? What's your opinion?
I don't know if I believe in lizard people, but aliens are real now, so apparently anything can happen. No, I did a lot of research about the United 57 flight, and there were some videos of that guy, and he had his pupil like going sideways and blinking sideways. So I don't know.
Really?
Yes.
I hadn't seen those.
Yes.
I just saw the video of the chick freaking out.
No, apparently he was in a green hoodie, and she claims that he said to her, "I'm going to take this entire plane down." But now Willow says he speaks French, so I don't know if that's the case. Maybe the French is just a cover-up. But that's why she started freaking out and saying, "I want to get off the plane," and they wouldn't let her. And so she became belligerent, saying, "If you want to stay on the plane and die." And then that's when they did an entire evacuation of the plane. And me and Willow have already talked about this, but Carrot Top, the comedian, was on that flight as well.
That's the hard part of all this is, they're blaming the one guy in the green hoodie for not being real, and Carrot Top there that kind of looks like, and I said this to Kale earlier, he kind of looks like a Ray Ann doll, on testosterone.
What are you discounting what somebody says based on their appearance? Surely not.
He has gone a little loopy.
He has had so much plastic surgery that he should have stopped a long time ago.
He's always been that ugly. Listen, I knew him before he started working out, before he got jacked. I did stand-up comedy back in the day, and I shared some stages with him. He's always looked like a toad. and I say that in all love. He's a great guy. He's super sweet. But he looks like he needs a good, solid kiss from a magical princess.
So he's the original reptilian man.
Ooh. Well, see, and that's the thing about this conspiracy.
I do enjoy his comedy though. Like some of his stuff when like he was just starting out, I'll come across it every so often on my feed. He is a funny guy, but sometimes it's hard to take him serious.
Well, and that's okay. But let's think about this for a minute. So he did rise to the top of the comedy world. And, Kale just said, maybe he's one of the original lizard people. And that's part of the conspiracy theory, is that they have infiltrated the highest levels of society, culture, and government. And that the people who are in charge, the Elon Musks, the Zuckerbergs, the Bill Gates, the Hillary Clintons, are hybrid reptilians. That's the conspiracy theory.
I believe that somebody like Zuckerberg or Bezos would be a reptilian, but maybe not like C or D list Carrot Top nowadays. I mean, like, okay, Carrot Top now looks like he is the discarded shell of a husk that used to be a reptilian.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. But, okay. But here's my question. What do the Scientologists think about the reptilians edging in on their competition, on their territory?
See,
Dun, dun, dun.
I don't know. I don't know anybody who is a Scientologist, so I can't ask them. That's an interesting question.
Can't you not talk to Scientologists? Aren't they like super secretive and closed off?
Yes.
So how could you know somebody who's a Scientologist? I was just about to say, like, Tom Cruise is one, but like you don't ever talk about it or hear about it. I don't even know like what it
because the whole thing about Scientology is that they actively recruit power people. They actively recruit pretty people, rich people, powerful people, and that's how they spread, is through the influence of the ultra powerful. And so if we are to suppose that the uber powerful of our global society is comprised of lizard people in disguise or hybrid reptilians, then are the Scientologists actively recruiting reptilians, or do they know, or do they care, or do they avoid those people? This is what I want to know. This is where my brain goes.
No, wait, because I'm a millennial, right? So if Scientology recruits the highest and most powerful people, the only Scientologist that I can name off of the top of my head is Tom Cruise. So who else is the Scientologist?
There are hundreds of thousands, millions of them. Kale.
Who else is the most powerful and popular Scientologist?
John Travolta.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Only the actors.
I mean, Kirstie Alley was one as well.
Yeah, she left. Okay. She left. So did Leah Remini. But
So what are they? Do they try to use their influence as celebrities? I see.
Yeah. So that's why you know about them, because those are the celebrities. But
yeah, there's a Scientology building in Edinburgh, Scotland. There's actually one as well in my city as well.
Wait, Willow, we got to put that comment back up.
Okay.
How did you pronounce that?
Edinburgh?
It's Edinburgh. Edinburgh. James Scott just had a come apart when you called it Edinburgh. Edinburgh.
Hey, okay. Look, there is a place. There's a street called Coburn, and it's not spelled. Phonetically, it is not Coburn. Okay. It does not look like Coburn. So English is weird. I will put in the chat what it actually is spelled.
So what do our viewers, what do our audience think about these lizard people conspiracies? I know Jimmy Scales Jr. says, isn't there a Scientology church in Nashville near Brentwood? Yes, there is. Jimmy Scales Jr. says, yes, there is. I've never been there, but I know that it is there. Now Dan Holyfield is making a case that, because I made the point about H.P. Lovecraft and Cthulhu, he makes the point, yeah, Plato created Atlantis for a written commentary on the concept of an idealized political system and how the Greeks would always defeat any enemy that came along, and people turned that into a mythology all its own. See, Dan, I don't know if I agree with that statement, because I happen to be one of those people that believe that Atlantis existed and that there are remnants of it to be discovered. I happen to believe it's on the continent of Africa. And it's called the Eye of Africa. If you Google this, the Eye of Africa, Eye of the Sahara, you will actually see a former island that was underwater, that at one time was above sea level, then was swallowed by the sea, and now it has become exposed again. And it is exactly the way Atlantis is described. There's a bay that leads to the Atlantic, a ring of islands, concentric rings. It's unbelievably cool. So,
and I think we have our next topic.
Yeah.
That is something that I've always been interested in, is does Atlantis exist, and where is it actually?
Does it? No. Did it? Yes.
Because we kind of have the technology to be able to go underwater and search for this, but we unfortunately, and we've seen it with the crushed submarine, unfortunately.
Well, here's the fact of the matter, Willow, is that 90% of Earth's surface is covered with water, and the oceans are the greatest unexplored frontier that we still have. I mean, everyone says space, but we haven't even begun. We haven't even begun to explore our oceans. There is so much that we don't know about and that we have not discovered. And we find lost civilizations every day in the Himalayas, in the Peruvian mountains in South America. They just uncovered a pyramid that they didn't even know was there in the Mayan jungle just a few weeks ago. I mean, so nothing is beyond the realm of possibility. And maybe one day we will journey to the center of the earth and we'll see the shining sphere of Vril. And, the conspiracy theories will be confirmed. Now, if you really want to take a deep dive into this hybrid lizard people conspiracy, there's a great movie to watch. It's called Iron Sky: The Coming Race. And it's the sequel to the movie Iron Sky, which was about the Nazis at the end of World War II escaped Earth and established a base on the moon, on the dark side of the moon. And I think in the movie it's set in 2028, they come back.
Oh, wow.
Well, at the end of that movie, they're defeated again. And instead of going back to the moon, they go into the center of the earth, because apparently that's where the Nazis originally came from. And it turns out Adolf Hitler was a hybrid himself. And it's crazy, wonkers, hysterical, and so cool, because the writer and director, Timo Warensala, really knows his stuff when it comes to this whole mythology about the Anunnaki, Nibiru, and the Vril.
Sorry, for a moment there, I thought your cat was gonna pounce on you there, Kale.
I was thinking about it.
I was watching intently to see if she was going to. But no, this theory that lizard people exist, like, I can see some of the reasonings behind it, because there are some people that look like really creepy, and Zuckerberg is one of them. And the fact that there's these super intelligent people that have and Elon Musk, they could do so much better with what they have. and they can help, you know, they can help with world hunger and all that, and they're not using their energy or their influence to even help. That's a rant for another time, but it's frustrating. And if lizard people do exist, I really hope that they're here to help us. And
no, they're here to harvest us. That is the prevailing belief among the conspiracy theorists.
Why do you?
They are here to harvest humanity.
Why do you think Zuckerberg had Sweet Baby Ray's on his bookshelf? It's what he prefers to dip his humans in.
That's it. That's exactly right.
Like, okay, do we the question is, do we taste good with ketchup, or like why? Like what? What's the purpose of them being here?
We're not going to get into the politics, the political aspect of this. But if you want to go down a deep, dark rabbit hole, one of the prevailing conspiracy theorists about the hybrids, that's what they're called, the hybrids, the reptilians, is that the people in power who are reptilian are harvesting human blood to absorb what they call adrenochrome. Just trust me, Google it, adrenochrome, and start going down the spiral. It's fascinating and horrifying at the same time.
I'm with Carl on that. Like, let the believers be the first one harvested. Yeah. Dan says, do not meddle in the affairs of dragons where you are crunchy and taste good with ketchup. Yep, that's exactly. I'm glad that we're on the same wavelength, because that is the big quote that I was thinking of.
What is that? That do not meddle in the affairs of dragons?
I'm not sure where that came from, but it seems like that has popped up in pop culture the last little while. Dan, I'm sorry. I wish I knew where that quote actually came from.
Oh, he'll tell us in a moment. Dan Holyfield, tell us who said that or where that comes from. Maybe it comes from him. Maybe he is the source.
Oh, that would be awesome.
It could happen. Anything's possible.
But so, any final thoughts on the whole lizard people conspiracy? Are we gonna see an influx of lizard people taking over?
They already have taken over. Willow, didn't you listen? Haven't you been listening to me? Wake up, people!
Well,
Kale, what's your final word, Kale, on the whole reptilian conspiracies?
What do you think, Casper? I don't know. I think that aliens are out there, then I guess then we might have other life forms as well. So anything's possible. Just call me when magic is released so that I can finally be a witch. That's what I care about.
Well, if you want to see how reptilians and people coexist, all you have to do is watch the original 1984 miniseries V. Have you ever seen V, Kale?
It does sound familiar. I'm not sure if I've seen it.
Oh my God. Willow, you guys need to watch V. Listen, okay. V, I'm not going to spoil it. All I'm going to say is it is about this subject. It is about an alien race of lizard people who masquerade as humans or humanoids and say that they have come to Earth to help us, but they've come to Earth to harvest us. And I was in 6th grade when V came on TV, and it captivated America. It was a pop culture phenomenon. Everybody was glued to their TV sets. It was a 5-episode miniseries, and every single night that week, everybody was just glued to find out how this was going to unfold. And then it became an ongoing series. That's where Robert Englund, Freddy Krueger, that's where he got his big break. He was one of the visitors, a character named Willie.
Okay.
And they actually did a reboot of the series on Sci-Fi, maybe 10 years ago, and the girl who played the courtesan in Firefly, she was the queen. So yeah, but the original series from the 80s was about this very topic. I hadn't thought about that until just now. But it captured the imagination of the entire country. And maybe that miniseries is what really made the conspiracy theories latch on to this whole concept.
Okay. Because I know that there were episodes of X-Files kind of touched on the whole lizard aspect as well. I just can't remember specific episodes right now, but
well, and there are 2 great movies that are worth watching. One of them is The Last Starfighter, and the Alex, the last pilot, his co-pilot is a reptilian, but the movie that is really impactful, and it got Louis Gossett Jr. an Academy Award nomination for Best Actor or Best Supporting Actor, is a movie called Enemy Mine. And it's about a human starfighter played by Dennis Quaid, and an alien reptilian played by Louis Gossett Jr. And in this movie, humans and the reptilians are at war. They are enemies. Well, these 2 fighters, these 2 soldiers, are stranded together on a planet, a barren planet, and they have to learn how to survive together. And it's an amazing story.
Oh, I completely forgot about the movie They Live. 1988 from John Carpenter.
Yeah. That Rowdy Piper, right?
Yeah.
But, so similar idea, but those weren't reptilians. Those were almost, I don't know, they were zombie looking kind of aliens, but the aliens nonetheless who had infiltrated the highest levels of our society and culture to harvest us. That seems to be the common denominator, the common theme.
Yeah. Oh yes, The Invaders was another movie.
Yeah, Dan Hollyfield says they've also forgotten about The Invaders from back in the 1960s. I don't think I've seen that movie.
There's like so many different versions of the type of that movie, like Invasion of the Body Snatchers, and then The Faculty in the 90s, similar storyline, which that movie was fantastic. I loved it.
And if we're talking about movies and pop culture and where this idea permeates, V wasn't the first movie to do this. The Invaders wasn't the first movie, or the only. Stan Lee, in the 60s, created the shape-shifting alien race, the Skrulls.
Yeah.
And they have a very reptilian appearance, green, scaly skin. And just recently on Disney Plus, the series Secret Invasion is about this very, very idea. Now, they weren't trying to take over to harvest us. They were trying to take over because they need their own home world. But same idea.
Dan, I apologize for my mistake. The Invaders was Quinn Martin TV. It was a Quinn Martin TV series. Thank you for correcting us on that. But yeah, you know what? These sci-fi movies and TV shows, I think it's because since the whole alien thing popped up in the 50s, it's just exploded since then. So,
well, look, alien encounters and stories about alien encounters are not new to 1959.
No.
Or 1949, rather. 1949 is the crash in Roswell. These stories go back thousands of years. And it all ties back to those Sumerian texts. The Sumerian clerics were recording visitors from other planets visiting us millions of years ago.
And now we're sending, and then we sent our own recordings out into space. I'm curious what aliens think of that.
Go over to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Dayton, Ohio, and ask them.
I would love to. I would absolutely love to get their thoughts on that.
Ladies and gentlemen, if Willow mysteriously disappears, never to be heard from again, she is being held in detention at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Dayton, Ohio. Or she's been transferred to Area 51.
Does Area 51 actually exist, or is it just an empty space?
No, it absolutely 100% exists. It is a top secret area that you cannot get close to. They are so powerful, Willow, that if you look at Google Earth maps of Area 51, it is blacked out.
Oh
yeah. It's a real place.
We'll save some bail money.
That comment comes from Carl Witzman.
I feel like I'm gonna end up, if I do end up meeting Kenny Biddle, and I would love to have him on the show again. If I do end up meeting him in real life, I think our adventures trying to figure out if ghosts and aliens actually do exist will be something of a great memory. I'll have to at least spend a week down there so that I can actually do some proper investigating on certain subjects down here.
Well, hey Willow, I know we're over time.
Yeah,
but I want to transition for just a minute before we leave, to let our audience know that in a couple of weeks, on August 26th, in Indianapolis, Indiana, you can see Kale and I together live on the Indie Pop podcast stage, we will be doing a very special live episode of Back of the Cereal Box, and hopefully we'll be able to pull Krayley away from her booth, so the three of us will be together again.
Oh, that'd be fun.
And Kale, I think we're going to talk about the future of the Star Wars franchise.
Okay.
I've heard that you're a big Star Wars fan.
I am a big Star Wars fan.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're going to be talking about, because Ahsoka will have just debuted that week. So we'll talk about that and what we think the future of the franchise is going from there.
Sounds good. I'm excited. I'm a little nervous. I already told Willow about it earlier. I was like, oh my gosh, in my hometown.
And it's not just your hometown. It's global, baby. For those of you who have not heard the news, Back of the Cereal Box, the flagship show of the Cereal Box Network, just charted at number 50 on the Apple Podcast charts.
Yay!
Yes, we did.
So very proud of that, and that is all due to our audience, our viewers, our listeners, and thank you guys for sharing. And this show, Cryptid Crunch, is a part of that success. So we love you guys for being a part of that.
Thank you, Johnny, for bringing us on. Yeah. And I will, for the next episode, I will make sure that I have a little blurb warning, so that people know that, you know, if I say something, if I do say something, that my opinions have nothing to do with the show.
That was a joke, Willow.
Yeah, well, I also showed a fairly animated picture at the beginning, so I apologize. I won't bring it up now. I found it on Wikipedia. I completely forgot to censor it.
Let's just say we know why the reptilians want to take over the men. They're compensating.
What did you do, Willow?
I'm apparently showing adult-themed images on our show.
It was for the sake of science.
It's after 9 o'clock. I think it's important.
All right. So
we're gonna go to
thank
bed.
you for being part of the audience of our last broadcast of Cryptid Crunch, as we are removed from the airwaves.
We won't be allowed back on our next episode. That's okay, Willow. We're all adults here. Thank you, Donna.
Hey, speak for yourself, Donna. I age backwards.
He's got that Benjamin Buttons disease.
Well, that is a good point, Carl. It wasn't anything worse than Da Vinci's Vitruvian man.
Vitruvian man.
But we're getting the stare down from Kale's cat right now. I think it's cuddle time for her.
Yeah, he's already been over here once. He's a needy boy.
So I think it's time to Johnny, tell everybody where we can find you on social media.
Well, at backofthecerealbox.fun or my personal website, johnnybeyond.com, and all over social media. But most importantly, if you like this show, share it with 200-300 of your closest friends and family and tell them to come share the fun. You know, comment, continue to like it, share it, and just spread and help us grow our audience to be bigger, better, and we'll love you for it. You'll look better for it.
Yes. You guys can become one of our Cereal Box super friends by donating to back of the Cereal Box at buymeacoffee.com/cerealboxpod. So yeah, donate generously or donate just a handful. Get us to upgrade our systems if you want to see us continue down this road.
Hey, Donna Carlene says, another great show. Oh my goodness, Donna, you are so starved for entertainment.
It's great to have fans that show up regularly and support us. So we appreciate you guys so much. Yes. So yeah, I'm hoping that I can bring Back of the Cereal Box to Winnipeg Comic-Con in October. So hopefully, fingers crossed that I'll be able to host a panel or two. We'll see what happens.
Awesome. Kale, where can people follow, find, and support you?
I'm at Creepy Kale on Instagram, and I'm on Facebook. Just chilling.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. And you can find me all over social media. I am your social media socialite. I am the emotional support Canadian. You guys can follow me on TikTok and Instagram and Facebook. I will try to do some makeup looks from these makeup palettes that I bought. And I definitely have ideas running through my head that of doing cereal inspired looks. I'm not a professional makeup artist at all, so please do not let this fool you. So yeah, you guys have a great night. Thank you for joining us in the chat, and see you next in a couple weeks.
Mwah!